it does not mean drought will not come. Drought always comes. Are there times that God can use drought to direct you somewhere in order for something to be revealed to you? Yes, but you always go back to the land you came from. In the time of Joseph, God brought a drought or a famine. Let's say a famine, because that's what it was. The Lord brought a famine upon the whole earth. The whole earth had a famine, including Egypt. But Egypt was the only country that was preserved during the famine. I don't know if you can hear what I'm saying. Egypt was the only nation that was preserved, was the only nation that was equipped to survive the famine. Not because they were good people, but because they receive a divine instruction. Because when famine comes, it comes to all. It doesn't come to you if you are a sinner. It doesn't come to you because you have been bad. It comes to you because of one simple reason. A drought happens to everyone because this earth is fallen. The earth is under a curse, and that curse is death. Every time a famine comes, it's a sign of death that is already looming on the earth. The devil is not in control of a famine. God can suspend a famine, but you have to understand a famine is the natural order of the earth. When Satan was kicked out of heaven, when Satan was kicked out of heaven, the earth was destroyed. God created Adam to rebalance the earth. God told him, replenish the earth. Replenish it. The only place that was fertile was the ground that God had planted his own garden. Everywhere else there was no plantation. It is Adam that was going in and out of the garden to do the work of God outside of the garden. But the moment he sinned, God said, I will return you from the dust in which you came from. And God kicked them out of the garden. Why? Outside of the garden there was always famine. Wow. There was no life. Wow. Famine was always there. Notice God never sent rain until the time of Noah. Wow. Because in order for things to grow in the old earth, you did not need rain. There was a mist that watered the ground. There were springs that sustained whatever was supposed to grow. This is good. I feel like I should do a part 2 of this.
Amen.
Because it's too long for me to finish. I don't know if I have a solution for you now. Genesis 26. Genesis chapter 26. Start from verse 1.
Genesis 20.
And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham.
Notice, Abraham gives birth to a son. The son is in the promised land, the same land. Another famine came. You can break every curse. You can never break famine.
Wow.
You can break every curse. You cannot break a famine. famines are only escaped.
Wow.
Oh, I feel like I'm talking to myself. You can only escape a famine. You cannot break it. You cannot stop it. Abraham had no power to stop it. Abraham could only escape it. But he escaped the wrong way. And he still had to go back to the same place.
Wow.
Keep reading.
And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines.
I can't hear you. Just be a little
And
loud.
Isaac went unto the Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will
Now
make...
notice this. Notice this. Abraham, when drought came, he never consulted God. He escaped into Egypt because that's what made sense to him. But when Isaac faced a drought, he had an encounter with God for God to tell him what he should do. Remember, even though Abraham was in the promised land, he was in the small territory of the promised land. There was still a vast land that he did not possess. When a famine comes, it is not a time to escape. It is a time to ask God, how far are my borders in this place that you have planted me?
That's good.
Because a drought to the world is destruction. A drought to you is opportunity. I wish somebody heard what I said. A drought to you, a famine to you, is an opportunity. Abraham experienced a famine. He said, Egypt is the place I need to go to. Ran to Egypt. God sent him right back. His son, another famine comes. He asks God, what should I do? God appeared and tells him, don't go to Egypt. Because you have to remember, where the devil will enslave you always looks like life is easy. When things look easy, it is where the trap is.
Wow.
Nothing about life is easy. So if somebody is offering you an easy way out, understand that Satan is in the details. By the sweat of thy brow shall you eat. Where you don't sweat is extra suspicious. Extremely suspicious. Dangerously suspicious. Satan is in the details. When Jesus was going through his famine for 40 days and 40 nights, one of the offers he was given is, I'll give you everything and make life easy. Just do this one thing. You see, and whenever you go to where you'll be enslaved, you are always called to compromise. You are always enticed to compromise because what you are doing is not in truth anyway. So in order for you, your rite of passage should be lies. And notice, Abraham lied about his wife, meaning he lied about his own flesh. You will betray yourself going to where life is easy. Thinking that that is an escape. It is not an escape. You are actually running into a deeper problem. And when you do receive your liberation from that place, it's not like you'll be on the highway of acceleration. Not at all. You will return to where you started, and you still have not explored the depth of the land that God has given you. You have to understand that famines are escaped. Famines don't just stop. They are provoked to stop by escaping. Keep reading, please. Keep reading.
Verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he
Notice, him at least he didn't escape. He dwelt in the land God showed him, which was still part of his land. And there were strangers there that did not know that they are living in his own country. But notice the instinct of the father was still inside.
She is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech king of the Philistines looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife, and how sayest thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her. And Abimelech said,
Notice, the father said, Actually, she is my sister. This is what Abraham said when he was asked, But this is your wife, you lied to me. Said, but actually, she is my sister because she comes from my relatives.
And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year.
Notice, the response to the spirit of famine is always a seed. Because a seed is the only thing that contradicts and fights the spirit of famine. Because a seed is a carrier of life. In the time of famine, Abraham escaped, never sowed anything. His son comes, is directed by God. There is still a famine, but he sows in that land and he reaps 100-fold. Notice, I taught about this in prophetic service. I said this, I said, some sow and they get 40, some sow and get 60, and some sow and get 100-fold. And all this is done on good ground. All this is done on what? Good ground. And the good seeds fell on the good ground, and some produce 40, and some 60, and some 100-fold. So producing 40 does not mean you're in the wrong place. It just means you have not done it the way God would want you to. 60, you have done better. You have gone beyond half. 40 sustains you. 60 makes you to start to enjoy life beyond the half line. It makes you enjoy life beyond survival. 100-fold you have made it. There is comfort and peace in the four walls of your house. So Isaac does this at a time that was difficult. And God gave him 100-fold. What produces 100-fold is not giving when it is convenient. Anyone who gives out of convenience can never reap 100-fold. 100-fold is always received when the odds are against you and you can face God and sacrifice the best, it is at that moment, it is at that hour that famine stops in your life.